it is Amy Rich with amyrich.net. I am coming to you with a little technique thing we're going to do today. And we are doing some shadow stamping with stencils though. I'm going to show you something that we did, oh gosh, a lot of years ago now at our techniques class. And it was embossing with shadow. And so what we did was we stamped the early espresso flowers first. And then we shifted the stamp just a little bit, stamped it again with Versamark ink, and then embossed with white. And of course, we added some shading behind it. But that was a cool technique with a great look. And we're going to try to replicate it a little bit with stencils. And these stencils can be found in the annual catalog on page 136. They are the Artistic Mix Decorative Masks. And it comes with a bunch. So first of all, we've got plaid, and the plaid ones, there's a companion to it, but I can't find it. Don't you hate it when stuff isn't where you're supposed to put it? I'm sure it's my fault, but that's just the way it is. And then we've also got this quatrefoil, and I've been playing with that quatrefoil a little bit, so it's dirty right now. But then it's got a companion mask with the quatrefoil, so you can do a little design inside of there. So that's really a cool look. And then it also comes with these labels, and there are pieces that pop out too. Again, something that didn't get stuck with the stencils, so I don't know where they are right now. But if you keep these that go inside of here, you can mask off areas for a sentiment or whatever the case may be. So we're going to start with this plaid one here, and we are going to fold a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch crumb cake cardstock in half. And we're going to get back to that in just a minute. I want to talk to you quickly about our white craft Stampin' Pad. Now the white is a pigment ink, and it comes uninked. And this refill is in the package with it. And the first thing you need to do when you get it is open this up and add your ink. Now the pigment ink you're going to notice is a lot different from our water-based inks for our other ink pads. But you're going to just apply ink all over the pad. You can squeeze it on there. And when you first get the pad, you'll need a lot more than this. I'm working with it several times tonight, so I've just re-inked it for the second time, and it does dry out a little bit faster than our water-based inks. So that's why they give you the refill. They want you to have it fresh and ready to go each time you use it. So there we go. We've got our ink pad all nicely inked, and you saw that I worked it in with the tip of the refill bottle. And that's how I always re-ink things, even our regular ink pads. So now we are going to use that white and a blending brush, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that here. We're going to take our cardstock, and we're going to take some washi tape. And again, I've been playing around with this technique a little bit tonight, so we're just reusing here. And then we're going to create a hinge on our mask. So we're going to center that, generally speaking, and then we're going to add a piece of washi tape up here at the top to act as a hinge. And then just for good measure, we're going to add one to the bottom as well. And now we're going to go in with our blending brush and get some white ink on there and just start applying. Now, let's talk about the differences between our white ink and all of our other inks. First of all, it is thicker. So what you're going to find when you're messing around with this, with these stencils, is that it's a little bit harder to do that circular motion that we're used to using with our blending brushes. And so just, you know, hold everything as steady as you can, and it's gonna be a little bit more work to apply this ink because it's really thick. Also, when you're working with this ink, remember that it stays wet. So it takes a lot longer to dry. So you're going to want just to be careful where you're touching things especially if you're working with some darker cardstock. So you've got lots to think about here as you're applying this ink, but it's going to be a cool look when we're done. So we're going to finish this up, making sure to get all of the areas. Just for my purposes, I want to make sure to get all of the areas. And when you're done, I'm just going to finish up down here. When you're done, you can, remember we've got this on a hinge. So let's lift up here and see. Ooh, that looks pretty darn cool. So we're going to leave well enough alone. And the other thing that you need to know is that it takes a lot longer to dry. So this ink really does take a bit to dry. So there are two ways you can handle that. You can just let it dry. You can let it sit and let it dry, or you can take a heat tool to it, which is what I will do, and I will be right back. All right, now we are back with a fresh, clean stencil and a dry piece of cardstock, and we're going to grab some clean washi tape because I saw I didn't use clean washi tape when I was applying the white ink, and you can see it got a little goofy there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move that stencil down and to the right just a little bit, and then it's going to have a cool shadow effect. I'm excited. All right, so then we're going to add the washi tape back on here and grab 3 beautiful colors. And Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Calypso Coral are going to make a fantastic bright cherry card. So grabbing my yellow blending brush, I just usually keep each blending brush without washing it in between. So it's like this one's for yellows. And if I use a lighter yellow like Lemon Lolly, then I'll just rub it on a piece of scratch paper to get that darker ink off. And you can keep going here and get it a little bit darker so that, you know, it's going to show a little bit more when we remove our stencil. And I'm going to make it kind of jagged so that one color is going to go into the next. Then we're going to switch to Calypso Coral, and I've got a blending brush that is more on the orangey side. So we're going to do that, and you can rub it off over here on scratch paper first before you start. But you can see that now when I apply these colors, it goes a lot more smoothly than when I was doing the white, right? Because it's that easier ink to work with. Here we got a little shiftage. It is the classic ink, which is a water-based, and it makes it just easier to work with. All right, and then we're going to finish with some Melon Mambo up in the upper left corner. And then we're going to go ahead when we're happy, or think we're happy, we're going to use that hinge to check things out. All right, so I'm going to grab the bottom edge here, lift. Look at that. That's pretty cool how we get that shadow. So I'm happy with it. We're going to leave it as is. And then I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral ink here, carefully remove this inner washi tape as well. Look at that cool background. I love the way that looks with the white up in the corners. Super cool. And then I have used my Nested Essentials dies to cut out a couple of pieces here. So we've got a little white label using this one here, and then our second smallest banner out of the Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper. So this is going to be super duper simple, everybody. We're going to add adhesive on the back of our banner. And that's just going to go right over here. Oh, let's see. How am I going to want to do this? Let's do it down here. We're going to cover up a little bit of our beautiful pattern here. And I do like a little dimension, so I'm going to curl up the bottom edge just a little bit. And with using that liquid glue, I can shift it a little bit. Then bringing in the inked and tiled stamp set, we're just going to do a quick happy birthday card. So we'll grab that stamp and stamp it on our label using Calypso Coral ink. And I love bright cherry colors and bringing them all together to create a really fun card. But now you can see how the crumb cake cardstock really makes a difference, because if we would have used like white or vanilla as a background, it wouldn't have popped with that white ink quite as much. So I want to make sure I get this straight here. And I can use my lines as a guide, huh? And then if you want to add a little more pop of color, I'm just going to grab some of our Glossy Dots assortment, and I am actually going to add some of the Daffodil Delight ones down in the Daffodil Delight area. How much fun is that? It just draws out that color a little bit more, just calls attention to it. Maybe 2's enough there. I'll have to decide later. And then up here, using the Melon Mambo ones, we'll just draw attention to the color up here as well. And this time I will use one of those big ones. Blah, blah, blah. So it's really just a simple card, but the technique, you know, it takes a little time and a little strategizing, but it's fun to see that shadow in the behind the pop of color. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I would love for you to leave a comment below letting me know something that you learned from this video, because I feel like I shared a couple of great tips with you for techniques and just ways to do things. So if you learned something new, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to this video so that you can come back and watch every time I come out with a new video tutorial. Thank you for joining me. I will see you again soon.